Hey there, I am JB, and in today's episode we're going to create an automated iron farm. So first things first, how do we get cobblestone? Well, I got this automated mining machine right down here, and this guy gives me so much cobblestone that I actually have to throw them away into the trash can, which is right down here. You can see this whole chest is filled up with cobblestone, as well as these two drawers combined, they have another 4,000 cobblestone. And in this chest I even have more cobblestone, so we don't need to make a automated cobblestone maker. Now since I'm going to wanting to have multiple grindstones, I need to make a different power source, and what I would like to do is make a ginormous windmill on the roof of this building so we can provide all of that power to the grindstones. Now in order to make this windmill I'm going to need to have a lot of wool, and in this case I only have 7 black wool, and I'm going to need to have a lot more black wool or other different kinds of wool. So between doing everything, I'm going to need to share these guys. I would swear I had a couple more sheep in here. What happened with that? Well, in this case, I would like to breed 1 more sheep if I can get down here. There we go. How about you and you? Have fun. Now the way how we're going to get our iron nuggets is by crushing and blowing. Let me show you something. So we have here iron nuggets, right? And if we're gonna go to block washing, you can see if we would wash gravel with a fan and water, we can get flint and we can get iron nuggets. It's a small percentage, but if this process goes fast enough and over time we need to do other stuff in this base, we will get a nice number of iron nuggets. And iron nuggets are also, by the way, needed in order to make andesite alloy, which I use a lot in this create mod. Now in order to get a lot of gravel, we're going to need to crush cobblestone. So if I would click on gravel, you can see if you throw it into this grinding wheel, gravel will come out. So basically you can do this with a lot of things in this game and end up with a lot of products. So how do we make a crushing wheel? Well, if we left click on it, it will show us the recipe, and this is where things become different. The grinding wheel's recipe is so big that we cannot make it into a crafting station. We have to build an alternative crafting station with these blocks. We're going to have 21 of these things and then add these resources to it, and then it will make it into a crushing wheel. Now let's see how this works. So I can just hold W on this and then it will show you exactly how this works. So with the wrench you can set the arrows where they need to go, and once you have set it correctly it will have an exit like that, and then you can put this thing near it. You don't have to, by the way. You make it roll like that, then add the products you need in order to craft something. You can even do it with small things because this can easily be done in a crafting station, and then it will combine everything, and then voila, you got an end product. And you can do that with a lot of stuff. Now in order to make 3 of these things we need this in our recipe, which is of course a crafting table. We're going to have brass casing. Anything else is not really new, but in order to make this we're going to need to have planks, we're going to need to have a log, and we're going to need to have brass sheets. So wind power, how are we going to create that? Well, we're going to go to the quest book, and I believe it's at the basics, which then here it says make a max strength windmill, attach 128 plus windmill sails to a windmill bearing. I'm not sure what this is actually. It's a strong breeze. But what I do know is that this is actually the windmill bearing. Creates a rotation from wind, attach windmill sails and right click to the windmill bearing to get it started. In order to make one of these, it's very simple. We need some stone, a turnable, and a shaft. A turnable is just a slab and a shaft. That is 1. And that is 2. Done. And automatically we're gonna get a couple of white sails. And then in here I got the recipe, which you're going to need to make sail frames and some wool. The sail frames are made with sticks and andesite alloy. Alright, I think with 4 stacks of white sails we should be able to get the achievement of 128. But this is not it. We're actually going to need to glue all these things together onto the windmill bearing, which in this case we're going to need to have glue. And glue is made with 2 slime balls, an iron sheet and an iron nugget. Like that. Yep. Let's craft them all. Alright, so we have the base ingredients for our windmill. I'm just gonna store all of that good stuff right in here, because we first need to make the grind wheel. It seems like this thing is done, so we got 21 of these brass sheets. And so on and so on. I discovered something new last night when Solix asked me how I needed to make like the polished rose quartz. And in one of the episodes I've been showing you guys, well, you just throw one on the floor, you take the sandpaper or the mouse button, and there you go, right? Which is not very handy. I said to Solix, hey, maybe if you take the sandpaper, put it into your other hand and then do this, you don't have to keep throwing them onto the floor, which is just super duper handy. Alright, I finally got all of the ingredients that are needed to make the customized workstation. There we go. I got 63, which might be a little too much, but keep in mind I'm going to make a shop which I can actually sell some of that stuff. Alright, that will do. Perfect. So what we have to do next is set up these arrows so everything goes down and then ends up right in here. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to see them, if I can be honest about that. So that is pointing down. Pointing down. This one needs to point that way. This one needs to point that way. And then this one points out to the exit. And this thing will not drop out anything before everything has been assembled. So I don't have to worry about that. It's working. That means that it's working. Ah, there we go. Coming up next is we are going to need to fill in the recipe of all of this good stuff. Alright, all the ingredients are added. It's not too difficult. And now if I turn this thing on, you can now see the magic happening. And please, for the love of God, it works. There we go. We got our grind wheel. 2 to be precise. Well, let's accept all of these goodies. And then that should be that, right? Perfect. Now, of course, for in one of the upcoming episodes, we are actually going to make a automatic emptying machine that will sort out some stuff and bring all of the cobblestone on conveyor belts from this building out here into this building. So it's gonna be a whole thing to make, but it's gonna be definitely worth the time. Now we need to set it up like this, and we're going to need to have access for a chest. So we do need to find a way to get behind here. I think I will just move it up once and also move it up a bit from the floor so I can get behind it, have access to the chest, and of course have some space in order to make the wind power. Right, it might not seem like a lot, but that's basically because I ran out of wood and a couple of other materials. I will basically fix up this building in my spare time. For now, we're just going to take care that this thing will work. So I'm gonna grab all of the needs that I'm going to need in order to set up this windmill. And in this case, I'm not gonna place this thing right away in the middle, because I think in the end, for make everything work, that we're going to need to have multiple. So I kind of figured out that the middle for this windmill will be right down there. Well, not like that. Gladly we got scaffolding, which is, well, right in the face. So we can place one of these underneath here, and then of course cover it up with this guy, the wooden part like this. Beautiful. And now we're going to make the actual windmill. Now the first thing that you place on here will already stick to it, because you can see there is something green on there. In this case, I'm gonna attach this guy right down here. And then I would like to make this windmill a little bit like modern. It's gonna be a bit like a wind turbine, the ones you have seen in City Skylines maybe. So in this case, let's make this actually 2. Like that. And once again, you can actually hold this glue in your hand, switch it off, and then it will be attached automatically, which is going to be super duper handy. I want to have it like that, perfect. So now we can attach these guys right on top of each other. Alright, I got 8 rows of 16, which basically means 128. Perfect. I already did tested it, but I forgot to turn on the recording. But as you can see, it is now, you know, doing what it needs to do. So I'm just turning it off and show you like, ooh, where's the proof? Well, here's the proof. Yeah, anyways guys, it is time to connect this thing up to the grind wheel, and in the end it's gonna be a test to see how much I can connect up to one thing. This should be incredibly powerful though. And of course we're gonna make the show look a little bit nice by adding that guy over there. Now before we're going to activate this windmill, there is something else we need to do, which I already have been preparing for. You might have wondered, what is this all about? Well, this needs to take care that things will go out of a chest and things will go into a chest. These on top of this, and there's like a little arrow which points upwards, which actually makes a very nice dispenser. But in this case, we need to point that thing down, because once it's crushed, it needs to get into the chest, which it will do right now. Right, there we go. It gives 8,192 SU stress units, which is a lot. Now, if you wonder like, hey, why is one turning the other way? Well, that's because this. So now you see this is how it's supposed to go normally, but you know, this will not crush anything. So we have to add this to turn the rotation around. One last thing, we're gonna add this to it, and now it will just drop these cobblestone out of there. And it will just get crushed. And it will just take it easy like that. Now, I'm not sure if I make this spin faster, that these, you know, the whole show faster, that this will go faster and the process will go faster. But let's keep it with this for now, because I will have to, you know, make a whole show out of it in order to even rotate this faster. So, right now, in this chest, we have crushed gravel. That is what we want. So if we wash the gravel, we're gonna get flint and iron nugget. So I'm going to set up this system with water. So in order to make one fan machine, we of course going to have a propeller, and a propeller is just made with iron sheets and one of these things. This is not too difficult. I placed the fan underneath there, and then in the front of it, it's gonna be water. We're gonna place a funnel on this chest, which will drop the items out. Then the wind will blow the water and the items slowly this way, and then it needs to go into a chest, which in this case I have in mind to just place a drawer, because a drawer you can give a filter. And the reason why we want to filter this is because gravel takes a little bit of processing time before it changes into iron nuggets or flint. So in this case, if you put the filter on it, it won't be sucking in any gravel. And now it will put it out because it's the wrong way. We want it to take the items. There we go. So the filter is on it. And if I would throw this here, you know, it's not going to be sucked up. Well, as you can see, it's blowing the water. And yeah, the only thing we have to do right now is add this guy here. And then it will change that slowly over time into flint and nuggets. There we go. Now, it's not gonna go super fast. So I might need to move this. Yeah, I need to move the system a bit closer. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Beautiful. If you see them disappearing, that means they just joined together. But in here, you can clearly see 5 nuggets, just 1 got added, 8 nuggets. It's not the fastest progress, but I might try to speed up this whole show by, you know, adding some gear wheels, just like down here. Not too fast, because the grinding wheel really depends on power rather than speed. So yeah, I guess a turning on and off system is gonna be handy. I'm gonna work on this and improve it, but you will see more in the next episode. Well, you just join 9 nuggets together, right? And there we go. We got an ingot, which we can also automate. But that's something for another moment. I think there's like an auto crafting station, right? In default Minecraft.